behavioral change consultant Johanse Ayodike joins me live on set for another impactful and I would say progressive conversation. And we're going to get into our mental health matters segment by asking the question, well, or at least putting forward the statement to do the hard thing first.
Yes.
Johanse, good morning. It's been a long time, my brethren. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, same to you, Jason.
Do the hard thing first.
Yes.
I mean, that could go any direction.
Okay, so when we face with a challenge or a choice, sometimes, or at least more than one choice, we automatically think, you know, this is the easier way to go, this is the more difficult way to go. And a lot of us have realized, choose the easy way. But when we choose the easy thing first, if you think about your brain as a muscle, if you go in the gym and you lift the lightest weight, you wouldn't really build any muscle. Now, you could say you go to the gym and you say you're doing something, but you're not building any strength. So if I go in mental and emotional strength also, if you choose to do the hard thing first, you'll be able to better face some of the stressors in life.
So what about, you know, those who might say, you know what, I want to pace myself. Let me test the waters first before I take the deep dive.
Well, even with that, that could still be the hard thing by taking it in steps. So let's say you have a thesis to write, and the thesis is 500 pages, versus, let's just say, going another route that is easier. You could say, all right, I'm choosing the hard thing, but I will write 10 pages a week, 20 pages a week. So you're still choosing the hard thing, but you're taking it in steps.
I mean, I mean, I understand the concept, and it's one that I embrace, but there are those who, they've made a living, they have made their life by taking shortcuts, by learning the dance of life, by finding ways to manipulate the system to as they say, embrace or activate certain life hacks. How does that work for that kind of individual?
All right, so you know, we have a saying, shortcut does make long cut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
for a lot of people like that, even though it may seem like they're taking a shortcut, but they end up taking 10 shortcuts and it taking longer to reach the goal. It's like sometimes when you're in traffic and you go through back streets and you end up going through 1,000,000 back streets, and when you reach back out on the highway, you realize you didn't even reach further than certain cars. So I'm putting it forward like that. Now also, and this could be a Trinidadian thing or it could be a worldwide thing, but I've seen it a lot in Trini. We like to take shortcuts and we actually use our intellect to do shortcuts. So it's still to show that we intelligent and we have the grit, but sometimes towards using our shortcut.
So doing the hard thing first, when we consider, let's say, a relationship, how could this concept be applied?
Let's start first, when it's a relationship, romantic relationship or any relationship.
Friendship,
also.
yeah, work relationship, even romance too. But I'm not thinking like work relationship, sometimes the challenges you have in that regard, even romance.
Let's start with having a difficult conversation. Sometimes you know the truth of something, and it don't have to be anything too deep. It could be something simple as the food not tasting good. I just give you an example, but you're thinking, you know, if I say this, the person might react X, Y, Z. But the truth is, this is how you feel. So instead of taking the easy way out, which might be lying or pretending, have the conversation, but of course with respect.
But you know, when we consider the truth and the truth, you know, whether we find the nice words to butter it up and bring it forward. There are many people who sometimes take offense. So lots of times we tell people what they want to hear, or we just sometimes hold back how we truly feel in trying to preserve the person's feelings.
That's still the easy way out. Because you end up now preserving the person's feelings for what, 5 years, and eating the food you don't like for 5 years? That is shortcut making long cut again. So eating the food you don't like for 5 years and you now become unhappy. Right? And of course, if you're unhappy in one aspect, it will trickle down to other aspects. So whether in a romantic relationship, a business partnership, between family members, choose the hard thing first.
What about compromise? I mean, because, you know, we consider, yes, and you always, it's something from day one, I recall, and it's something that I hold on to now, that, you know, you speak your truth, you live in your truth. But sometimes we always hear, whether it work relationship, romantic relationship, relationships with family members, siblings, with your parents, grandparents, this whole concept of compromise. Can one do the hard thing first without compromising themselves and integrity?
without compromising, what I would say, and Jason, even though I'm saying this, I know this is easier said than done, you know, right? Even for me, sometimes I know the harder choice, and I say, oh, God, the answer, but sometimes the harder choice is necessary. Once you be honest, even if it's a compromise or a sacrifice, it's better to be honest. Now, the person don't have to accept what you're saying, you know, right? But the fact is, you spoke your truth. You said exactly how you feel or what it is you want.
You know, interesting point you made, because you're saying that the person doesn't have to accept it. And I guess in a way in life, we all seek that acceptance.
Yeah.
And I feel now that if you're able to speak your truth, that is your real genuine feeling. Even if it's not accepted, at least you got it out there. And hopefully, as my mom always says, who vex will eventually have to unvex. Yeah, my mom, that's a saying I'm going to keep with me.
Because the truth is the truth, you know. I mean, some people may never unvex. Some people just hold on to things for a long time. But I understand what you're saying.
And I guess that's a topic in itself for somewhere down the road in terms of holding on. Because that in itself, when you consider doing the hard things first, or last, or however you want to look at it, to hold on to something takes a particular effort. Huh?
Exactly. And that sometimes that is the easier thing. Holding on to the anger or the resentment is the easier thing instead of talking to the person, instead of putting it out there. And we think, you know, being hard by holding on to this anger, but that actually is the easy way out.
Let's stay right there, because holding on takes an effort. Letting go, it's a big act. It's that concept of forgiveness. I mean, it's, to me, one of the greatest gifts. How can one even get themselves to apply that sometimes very hard act, doing the hard thing, whether it's first, last, or second, to just really let go? Because that in itself, as I mentioned, it's not an easy task, especially when somebody, they really disappoint you, they rub you the wrong way, they let you down, then they drop the ball. I mean, we can't put a time frame on it. Everyone is different, but how does one even start that conversation with self, that conversation of reconciliation with self, to let something go? Because that is itself is a hard task.
Well, first, if someone let you down, someone disappoints you, is to understand first why you was even disappointed. Because with disappointment means there was some sort of expectation. So it's to analyze for yourself, why did I have this expectation? And when you understand that, because that's facing the truth of yourself, then you could go and speak to this person. And again, this is easier said than done, because when there's emotions and feelings involved, it's not the easiest thing. But I notice what you just said is not the easiest thing. So dealing with emotions, dealing with self, and dealing with people in our lives sometimes can take effort, but it don't always have to be that difficult as you think.
Let me ask you this, because it's a scenario I think many looking on could relate to, and it's something I went through recently. You speak of expectations, and it's so true. Expectations sometimes reduce happiness. It will kind of come. You could set yourself up.
Yes.
And what would you say for those who they go through something, they do express it.
They don't express it.
They do express it. So you would have gone all out for someone, because I went through this recently. You know, someone came to Trinidad, give them the red carpet, went across to their particular island, and you're expecting the same kind of vibe, and I find it was, you know, you call in, you want to get a little drop, the person not available. I just found like it wasn't the same effort. And in my mind, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna mention anything, I'm just gonna move the same way they move when they come back to the shores here. Is that doing the hard thing first? Is that avoiding the scenario? Is that me being petty?
Well, yeah, it could be being a little petty, you know, but what I would say is to help avoid some of these things. I was talking about life hacks before, right? Find out what somebody wants. Give somebody what they want versus what you think they want. Because if you give people more than what they want, they won't be appreciative of it. Let me give you an example. If somebody wants A, B, and C, that's 3 things, but you give them C to Z, that is 23 things, they may not appreciate all of those things because you didn't really give them what they want. So sometimes it's better ask somebody what they want so you could give them exactly what they want. So then they could reduce that form of disappointment for the future.
Interesting conversation. I mean, we could talk this all morning. So as we wrap up on this whole concept of doing the hard thing first, just some closing remarks, and again, just a reminder as to how to approach it, because we know, as you rightfully said, it's easier said than done, but I guess what's kind of hard and difficult on the front end might actually be a little bit easier for you on the back end, because you would have put in the work, you would have made that effort up front, so that at least
the easy thing easy now.
Yeah.
Once you do the hard thing out of the way, the easy thing is nothing.
Yeah, it will just kind of almost flow. And I guess that in itself is the journey of life, that you put in the work. I mean, there are many people, if you look at it from a financial standpoint, those who are able to enjoy themselves in retirement, those who are able to reach a certain point and they could just not have to put in work as hard, they would have done stuff in the earlies, make certain sacrifices. I'll give you the closing remarks, Yuanse.
Do the difficult thing first, because you'll be able to build the resilience to deal with the stresses of life in a healthy manner. Don't make life difficult, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
Yuanse Adike again with some nuggets for life, some impactful information so we could all structure ourselves. Up next, Ian steps in. He steps in, he's on the seat, he's dealing with the football, the elections that's started for this weekend, and some fitness discussions in between. Your morning shot, Ian Wason up next. Have a great one. God spare, I'm back for more tomorrow.